We are back. Chris Leibel, Lou Columna, the Agent and the Fan podcast. Another episode, Lou. We got a lot to talk about. We should probably get right into it.
Yeah, man, it's been a busy week, as is the case around this time of year with baseball, football, obviously still. I wasn't gonna bring this up, but even basketball here in New York, man, the Knicks are hot, and that's something that we haven't even discussed a lot because the Knicks have been so bad. But that's for another day. But yeah, man, let's get to this, man. Aaron Rodgers, what's your take on what's going on with
So
him
I
and Green
called
Bay?
this. I called this about a week ago. Not on the air, but off the air privately. I I was just doing the math. I mean, Aaron Rodgers had three choices. Obviously, the ball's in Aaron Rodgers' court. He had three choices. Okay, one was to stay with the Packers. Did not seem like he wanted to stay with the Packers. Two was retire. I don't see him turning down $59 million for
No
another
way.
year. And three was apparently the Jets, because it seems like all the other teams. First of all, it doesn't seem like the Packers want to trade him to the NFC, and the AFC. These teams didn't seem in on him. So once the Raiders and Josh McDaniels has kind of sent out the smoke signals that they are looking for a young quarterback to develop as opposed to bringing in a veteran, it pretty much came down to the Jets. And I told everybody this a few days ago. And then sure enough, Derek Carr announces he's going to the Saints. Now, Derek Carr, I thought wanted to come to the Jets. So once I saw that, I thought this is definitely happening. Aaron Rodgers is coming to the Jets. Now, again, it's still not a done deal as of we're talking here right now, but I don't see how he's not going to be a Jet. And they're meeting now and talking about it apparently as we speak.
Yeah, no, all signs point to him coming to the Jets. I hope that's the case personally. I like Carr. I didn't feel like I wanted him for, to me, it was a situation where if he's that good, what went wrong in Vegas where you have a potential franchise quarterback that you're not even playing the last couple of games of the season and you're willing to let go?
Well, listen, sometimes after a long, it's like any relationship, a long
Yeah, no,
relationship, it's time
I
to move on. And I think that's what happened.
yeah,
But
I get that, but I'm just like, man, this
I
guy's
think Derek Carr's a good guy. I think he's a good quarterback. He might not be one of the top 5, 6 quarterbacks in the league or anything like that. I don't think anybody's saying that. But
yeah,
I think with the young nucleus of the Jets, they really need, if Mike White and guys like that are winning with the Jets, imagine what a veteran,
sure.
guy like a Derek Carr could do. So I as a guy who, I know you're a big Jets fan. Obviously, I grew up on too. Um, as a somebody coming from the Jets perspective, I don't see how, I think he would have been a big help. But I mean, if it's Aaron Rodgers, it's going to be it's a fascinating thing. I do think the Jets automatically become a Super Bowl contender just because Aaron Rodgers is that great,
Without
and the
question.
Jets have a lot of good pieces around without him. Assuming Brees Hall comes back healthy, they have a lot of weapons on offense. Defensively, they're pretty solid team, and on the offensive line has gotten a lot better. And obviously, there'll be some moves to make. I think the big question for the Jets is this isn't a Tom Brady situation, from a few years ago. He's not a free agent. The Jets are going to have to pay the Packers, and I think they're going to have to pay him dearly. So it could be like a mercenary situation where he's just going in for maybe even 1 year. I'm sure he's going to get a 2-year deal out of this or whatever, but who
Yeah.
knows what he does? He's a wild card. That's the thing with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, no, I agree. He's definitely a wild card. My feeling on it is I actually wanted him from the beginning because, in my opinion, I know I'm in the minority. I know I'm in the minority when I'm saying this. I still want, Zach to develop. And I think him not playing, let's say, for 2 years and learning. So, this 39-year-old Aaron Rodgers, he's not playing at 45, 46, right? So I think he's more agreeable to kind of teach these kids, kind of let him know what he's not, his job is not being taken away by Zach Wilson, right? Whereas, you know, with Love, he was, still, 34, he wasn't going to do that. I think this is a little different, and I still have hope that, hey, you know what, he's here for 2 years. Hopefully we do something great. And you know what? it gives just Zach a little bit more time to develop and learn, not under, backup quarterbacks that are, that weren't any good, but under a, Pro Bowl Hall of Famer, you
Yeah.
know. And
Well,
so
listen,
that's my take on it.
you might be a little bit of a optimist on
I
that.
am.
I don't know if Zach is even going to be around.
Listen.
Maybe this year, maybe not.
I think
maybe not beyond.
had Derek Carr signed with the Jets, Zach is gone. I think he's on the table now. If we get Aaron Rodgers, I think he's on the team. Because Aaron Rodgers is not going to be here for 3, 4, 5 years. And guess what? If you're winning, like we hope that we are, and even if we don't win the Super Bowl, we're going to be a very, high performing team. We're not getting a top 5 pick, right? These picks are going to be low, so you're not getting that quarterback.
Well, look, you hope this year is a great year, and the Jets are in the top handful of teams, and that's okay. But then, how much are they going to pay for Aaron Rodgers? Is it going to be 3 years of first round picks and second and third round picks? I mean, the Jets, they do need to keep replenishing and rebuilding and stuff, and huge cap hit. So it's a fascinating thing. We'll see how it plays out. But certainly, it appears as of now, Aaron Rodgers is going to be a New York Jet, and we'll see where it goes. So
let's see. But we do have a second choice behind door number 2.
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Maybe, just maybe, does a guy named Lamar Jackson ring a bell to you?
Yeah, maybe. I don't see that happening.
Listen. I don't want it to happen, because that means you don't get Aaron Rodgers, and you're going to have to pay dearly for Lamar, whoever gets him.
Look, at the Ravens have a chance to match anything. It'll be interesting.
Yes, but here's the thing. This is another quandary for me with Lamar Jackson. I mean, MVP, Pro Bowler, everything. Why has he not been locked up already? What is going on in Baltimore? What is the dynamic there between the team and him?
Well, it's certainly a good question. I think one thing, and again, this is speculation, but I think when you have Lamar Jackson, he's not your prototypical quarterback. Aaron Rodgers comes in, he's gonna fit really well with the Jets offense. Lamar is a super talent. He's unbelievable. He obviously has an outstanding arm. He can run. I mean, obviously he's an MVP candidate at all times, and he's a threat every time the ball's in his hand, because he might throw a 75-yard touchdown pass in the air, or he might run for 75 yards. But you do have to change your offense a little bit around him. I think he's not the. So I think that's it. But maybe there are other teams that maybe, again, we'll see. I mean, it should be interesting to see what happens and how Lamar plays out. I'm very interested to see, is this irreconcilable with the Ravens? If it is, well, that certainly makes it real interesting. And will somebody step up and really pay him and make it hard for the Ravens to match, or make it, it'll be a fascinating thing. So.
Well, for sure. So let me ask you this: Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson, who is a better football player to you? Who's the better quarterback?
Lamar. I think Lamar's a better quarterback. I think.
But my point being is this: he's going to want Deshaun Watson money.
100%. And Deshaun definitely hit the jackpot. And I don't know. I think a lot of people don't think he deserved it. But look, Daniel Jones signed yesterday with the Giants. Had he not signed, they were going to franchise him. That's been pretty well publicly stated. Okay. That tag on that franchise is $32 million. Okay.
32.5.
The fact of the matter is this: the going price for a quarterback isn't cheap. So whatever you sign, and whoever it is, Deshaun Watson, again, had some issues off the field or whatever, or didn't, or had some allegations or whatever you want to say, obviously a talented player as well. I do think Lamar is a better player, but a different kind of player. And, Deshaun is more of a prototypical NFL style quarterback.
Agreed.
Okay. So, but on the same thing, the price is the price. You pay for a quarterback. If you're getting a quarterback, you're going to pay for a quarterback, and you're going to pay a lot of money. And at the
Quote,
end of the day, it's the most important position. And if you have a good one, you could take it to the top.
quoting Fat Joe, yesterday's price is not today's price. So, and you gotta pay. And this is the thing though,
Yeah.
teams are not paying. Who's gonna pay Lamar Jackson that money? I don't think it's every team.
Well, no
Because,
question about
that's
it.
gonna be a huge hit
And,
for that
and
for that team.
And again, some guys, you see some of these quarterbacks taking less money to try and have a better team around them. You see some of them aren't. Again, I'm not going to judge anybody on that, and I'm an agent myself, so I don't begrudge anybody if they want to get the money. You get the bag while you can, because
Without
who
question.
knows what goes on and who knows what you need. And we talk about it all the time. It's one of the premises of our show. You know, um, you know, you can't, money is money, and you get as much as you can, as long as you can, as much, whenever you can.
Tom
And
Brady had Giselle.
yeah, yeah.
I mean,
And
and that's not spoken about, right? But
no, but
truly,
money goes fast, and you
yeah,
wanna, you wanna secure as much as you can, and you wanna secure your family and your kids and their kids and your grandkids and your great grandkids. And really, if you're one of these guys, and Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady, you can do that.
mhm,
But if you're an idiot or whatever with your money, or you take less all the time, you might not maximize your potential. Again, everybody's different, but you can't
yeah,
hold it against somebody if they want to cash in when they
yeah,
have the opportunity to do it, because you don't know how long that window is. And it's easy for you to say at home sitting there, but it's not this. Again, these guys are in a totally different boat than most regular people.
no,
So
no, I agree with you on this wholeheartedly. Like, you got to get the money while you can, and if you're in a position where you can offset that, then fantastic, right? But uh, for you to ask this player who's sacrificing his body every week to take less for,
yeah.
then maybe you as a GM have to do something a little different. You know, uh,
Yeah, I mean, you have to be creative, and
creative.
NFL is a very unique situation just with the salary cap. That's why they have these capologists, and every team has guys who, try to figure out the best way to do it. And it's a tricky proposition, but these teams that have done it well have really benefited. And it's going to be interesting to see how things play out. And again, if the Jets pick up Aaron Rodgers, that's a huge price tag. There are going to be
Yeah,
some cap casualties
yeah.
in New York. So
So it's funny you say that. Just to go off topic a little bit, you as an agent, what is? I mean, I think I know your take on this, but what do you feel about the salary cap? Um, yeah, I mean, I get it from the owner standpoint. Obviously, it seems to have worked. The revenue sharing seems to have worked in the NFL. The parity in the NFL seems to have worked great. The NBA, you know, who knows? And obviously, there was rumblings, just a little bit of rumblings that Major League Baseball, that the owners were trying to get that out. That'll never pass through the Players Association. But what is your take on that?
no, as an agent, you hate the salary cap, of course. And in a free system here, you want to be able to maximize all potential. No one tells the owners that, oh, this is the most you can make, and then you can't make any more money than that. They make much money as they can. So why shouldn't the players be afforded the same rights as the owners or anybody else? And no one tells a businessman, oh, that's it. You've made enough money now. That's the end of the road. These guys are making millions of dollars. And
Billions.
people are making billions of dollars. These teams are making billions of dollars. Uh, the players are out there. They're putting themselves on the line every day, especially when you're talking about the NFL. I mean, look at Demar in that situation. You're trying to you want to provide for your family and play a game you love and all that stuff, but there's a risk and there's a cost and for all that. So I'm sorry, you can't. To me, salary cap is ridiculous. There should be no salary cap. You make what you can make and you earn what you can, and that's it. There's nothing. Nobody's telling any of these people. Elon Musk, sorry, that's it. Cut off. No more. You made enough now. No more for you. And and
Yeah,
Jeffrey Bezos and all these people.
yeah,
So
yeah. I
why
agree
should
with
that be
you
any
though.
different?
I agree with you because one of the things I always say is for any sport, by the way, this goes for any sport. If your city can't support a team, you shouldn't have a team.
Yeah, 100%.
You shouldn't have a team. You should not have a team if your city cannot support that team.
Correct.
And
Correct.
so if that means, 5 less NFL teams, 6 less, MLB teams, and 5 less, NBA teams, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, you
Yeah.
got,
Right.
I mean, we're talking about football now, but just switching to baseball, you got perennial losers like the Pirates who collect, salary cap money. I don't see them doing anything. I mean, yeah, they had a little window a couple of years ago, but I mean, it was a very small window. It was a crack, where they were competitive. So I don't really, go to
Well,
that.
again, some of the owners don't like to spend money. Some of them don't, are making money and not trying to, or trying to stay, in the black. I mean, they're businessmen. None of them got rich by, by being dummies. So,
Mhm.
so it's an interesting thing to think
Yeah.
about. But, Tony, I know that you said you touched on baseball that's come up. Tony Clark, the head of the players union, was adamant it will never happen. And well, listen, we should hope not. That's for sure.
That's just, selfishly, we should hope not.
Correct.
In New York, but we'll see. We'll
Well,
see. We'll see
yes,
what
as an
happens.
agent, also, by the
Yeah,
way,
as an agent also.
that's what I was thinking more of.
Most importantly, as an agent.
Correct.
No, yeah, I agree. I agree. We'll see what happens, but that's for another day. But I wanted, speaking of staying on baseball, I wanted to touch on the baseball rule changes during the spring. Obviously, we've heard a couple of situations where the run was walked in on a called ball because a guy wasn't at the plate correctly. That's the one of all the rule changes. I've been watching a lot of spring training games so far this spring. That's the one that is like a little gray area because it's subject to interpretation, right? Because it's going to come up in the regular season where the guy's going to be like, bat in my hand. I was ready. And the guy was like, well, not fast enough. Right. And I don't know when. It may be the
Look,
first week.
it's part of the game now. I think we are, as human beings, we adjust. They're making changes. This is something that's been researched. We'll see how it goes. If there's an issue, will they adjust it? I am sure they will. Again, I'm one of these people who is a purist of baseball, so I like the game the way it's been and the way it was for 175 years or whatever it is. So again, I don't. I feel a little bit weird with some of the rule changes. I don't mind that one as much. I think there might, maybe there might be an adjustment. Maybe they add some time to it. Maybe they don't. I don't know. We'll see how that plays out. The one I can tell you one thing for me, the one rule change that I hate is the extra inning rule. I hate that. The guy on second base, I can't stand that. Nothing drives me more crazy than that. I hate it. So I hope that I wouldn't even mind it after a certain amount of time, but I do not like it to start. I don't remember. Did we even talk about this already? We might have.
We spoke about it.
Yeah, I'd like to talk about it over and over again. I'm still angry about the DH, by the way. So I think that started in 1973. So, but
yeah, I mean, you know what? It's funny because obviously, I grew up with the DH. And this is what just frustrates me about baseball is that I understand you have to adapt. You have to adapt to the times. You have to do certain changes. And listen, nobody's disagreeing that there were changes that needed to be made. Understood. We're in agreement with that. But to change the game fundamentally, I love, again, call me old fashioned, but I love the fact that there was a National League president, American League president. I love the fact that the National League didn't have a DH. I loved all of that. To me,
I did too. But I think, listen,
and let's not get started. By the way, sorry to cut you off. Then we go into the All-Star games with these ridiculous uniforms. which they're
We
going to
I
do
think we
again this
talked
year.
about that over the summer last year.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. We like
yeah,
the uniforms,
and
but listen, I'm a purist of the game. I like the game the way it was. But look, Lou, times are changing. We have to adapt to the times. And we have to move on, and we have to, we'll see. I'm gonna be one of these. I'm one of these people who wants to see it play out, and we'll see. And I'll make a judgment once the regular season starts. Will there be some awkward things? Will there be a key play that we're like, oh my God, I can't believe they lost the game because
yeah,
the guy stepped out of the batter's box? Yes, that will happen. They will learn and they'll fix it, and
yeah,
it'll be okay. Look, I love the game, so I don't care if it's game is 303 and down to 242. I could care less. I like the game. I want to be there. My best
yeah.
memories are going to games as a kid in Shea Stadium when there was like 2,000 fans. When the game went to extra innings, I'm like, oh my God.
Free
I know
baseball.
yeah, I couldn't wait. I mean, I wouldn't care if that game went till the next afternoon.
Wait,
I was more than happy for it to go on. Now my dad might have been, like I got to get to work in the morning, but he would never leave early. So we stayed and we watched it. If it
yeah,
went 19 innings, it was like that was it. It was something to talk about or
yeah,
something
yeah,
crazy. So I love that part of it. Now that's going to be gone.
yeah,
Um, you know, but in talking to some friends at baseball and Major League Baseball and stuff, this is what the owners wanted, and this is what they're doing. So
yeah,
they feel like they have an investment in their players. They want to protect their players. They don't want games going 20 innings where guys are going to have more of a chance to get hurt.
yeah,
They're spending, you're seeing guys in the $40 million a year range, making money. They don't want a guy to double the risk of, getting hurt because, and again, as a fan, you don't want that either. You don't want Mike Trout or God
yeah.
forbid, or one, or Aaron
But
Judge
again,
or Pete Alonso to, you
but
know,
again, how many 20-inning games are there a year?
to me, I like the strategy. I like, I look, I hated the shift. I don't know why guys can't go the other way more or dump the
Yeah,
ball in or whatever. That's a thing that is something that is something certainly for a discussion, and maybe we
yeah,
can do it when we have a player on. But somewhat watching games with some of the old, players of when I used to work in the front office with the Mets, they were like, why doesn't he just hit the ball there? It's an easy double or whatever it was,
yeah,
which I think most fans are saying,
yeah.
you know, um,
Did you see what the Red Sox did, by the way, in a spring training game? Did you hear about this? That they found a loophole on the shift, and then they moved the center fielder in front of the right fielder.
No, I've seen a couple of teams do this already where
And I'm
they're
just
moving
like,
the left fielder over. I
yeah,
don't mind it as much, but again, I mean, I think, like I said, you know, Tony Gwynn or Wade Boggs or someone like that, they would just be like, they would
yeah,
laugh at that and just,
yeah,
Tony
yeah.
Gwynn would just, where are you going to shift them? I mean,
The
wherever,
question is,
there was an old baseball player, Willie Keeler, and he had a famous saying, hit them where they ain't.
hit him where they ain't. Yeah, yeah,
So yeah, I mean, Wee Willie is spinning in his grave right now. But look, I hate the shift. I don't like the pizza boxes as bases, but I love stolen
I
bases.
love
When
stolen
I was a
bases.
kid, I grew up with stolen bases. The game is not, I remember talking to Jose Reyes about this and asking, "Hey, why didn't you steal?" And he would be like, "Oh, I'll never be safe. Why?" Because he's this number to home, the catcher's this number to second base, and I'm this to second base.
Yeah, yeah, you
My
mentioned
fastest is
that.
going to be this.
To
So
me, the biggest thing, the unintended consequence, and this is I'm talking business, by the way. This is not even baseball. Is if you're an owner, you want the fans in the stadium for a longer period of time. I would think more concessions, more merchandising. If your game is done in 220, 230, I wonder if that is an unintended consequence where they're like, man, we're not making that much money in concessions and in merchandising because this game is over in 2 hours.
yeah,
Are they going to let fans in earlier? And
listen, like I say to everybody, these aren't callous decisions anybody rushed into.
no, no,
These are
I
these are
understand that.
numbers run and calculations done, and they are. I think they're just banking that there'll be more fans because the games are more exciting and more entertaining, and the young people will come, and it's more bigger picture than, hey, this game's going to go a little shorter than
Yeah,
what a game would have last year. So we'll
yeah.
see.
We'll see. That'll be interesting. So Listen, I can't wait for baseball to start, man. I'm actually watching spring training games through the seventh, eighth inning, seeing guys that'll never
Well,
make the
you're a true
team.
fan. You're a true
You
fan.
know, I am. I mean, listen, I just can't wait for baseball to start. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes. We'll see
Well, it
how
won't
it
be here.
goes.
It won't be long.
It won't be long. It won't be long. This month. This month. March 31st. So we'll
Right.
see how it goes. Speaking of baseball, World Baseball Classic, it just started. That's another thing. I'm excited about it, believe it or not. Like, I want to see the Dominican team. Vladimir's out,
So
with a leg injury. I think the Dominican team is a team to beat. But I got to be honest, I would not sleep on Japan. I would not
well,
sleep
look,
on Japan.
Japan and Korea are always tough. They're definitely they play a little bit of a different style game than we play here. Some of it's kind of the old school style
Yeah,
that we were
yeah,
talking about that we
yeah.
like. So I do enjoy that. I think that'll be interesting. I think the U.S. team is going to be a tough team to beat. Dominican, obviously, Venezuela is always going to be a challenge. Puerto Rico's had some good, runs. The Netherlands have
The Netherlands they've had a good run as well.
had some good, they can sneak up on you and take somebody down. There's certainly a lot of interesting teams and storylines, and it's always fun to watch this. And been being a part of it for the last bunch of years. It's always cool. I mean, I remember a few years ago going to the Dominican U.S. game in Miami, and it was electric atmosphere down
Yeah,
there. It's just
yeah.
a lot of fun, and I'm sure that's going to be the case this weekend in Miami when Venezuela and Dominican are down there together, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I mean, I think I would put the Dominican team, the U.S. team, and the Japanese team as the top three.
Those are your teams.
Yeah, I
Well,
mean,
we
Venezuela.
can't sleep on our friend Miggy Cabrera and
No, no,
his
no, no, no,
Venezuelan
no.
squad in
Listen,
his last year.
Miggy. I think they're better than the Puerto Rican team, in my opinion. Venezuela. So I have Venezuela fourth. Obviously anything could happen in baseball, but those are my top three teams. I think, the Dominican team is stacked. Even without Vlad, they're stacked. The US team, I mean, gosh, I mean,
Yeah,
I
they're
mean,
just
to
going to
me,
run guys at you.
that's gonna be kind of like that back and forth, which I'm excited about. So
No, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. I think it should be a good tournament, and I think with the it's an interesting thing. It's also a little awkward this year because obviously we have these new rules and the teams are trying to get used to them, and now they're going to go back to playing the WBC is like the old school rules. So these guys are going to be a little confused, but and some of these teams, like look, the Mets lost their whole infield to the WBC, so
yeah,
they're going to be, so it's going to. There's a lot of teams are kind of pulled apart and stuff. But look, it's all to me, it's a lot of fun. Having been a part of them the last few years, it's been great. I think the first year, myself and the company represented in the team Venezuela, we had like 18 of like the 25 guys on the roster. It was ridiculous. And then, just like I think the last one a few years ago, I was down in Miami for that one with Dominican and spent a lot of time down there with Jose Reyes, Starling Marte, and those fellas. And it was just it's just such a cool atmosphere. The families are there, everybody's really into it. And you see your true pride, of
your patriotism. Yeah,
your patriotism. Yeah, your patriotism for your country. And and we, in my house we have you know uh, we have a battle between the Dominicans and the Americans, and so that's an interesting thing. And yeah, and then obviously I'm a little torn, even though because I'm American, but also I've always had a lot of guys playing on other, on foreign teams between
yeah.
Venezuela and
DR.
Dominican generally, and also in Netherlands, in Colombia. So we, there's always, again, as I'm as an agent, I'm a player guy. I'm not a team guy.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yes, I have my teams I prefer to see win or whatever, but again, I'm rooting for the players to do well, and hopefully their teams will do well too, and hopefully get a
But I have
championship.
I have a question for you. Your number one client is batting, and your number one pitching client is pitching. Who are you going for at the end of the game?
No, I just close my eyes and turn away.
And cross your fingers.
Yeah, no one get hurt. No one get
But
hurt.
the answer is you win either way.
Yeah, correct. Correct.
You just can't tell the other player. That's all.
Correct. Correct.
Oh man. Well, yeah, man. Listen, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. I'm excited to see what the end result is. Jump into the start of baseball. We got NFL free agency coming up, so a lot of things to talk about on our next show.
Yeah, but this was great, Lou. Hope everybody enjoyed it. And we have some good guests coming up. We keep saying that, but they're coming, and I'm very excited to open up that and get that going a little bit more too, because I think our audience will enjoy it. But thanks everybody who's tuned in, and we'll see you again soon.
Let's go, Aaron Rodgers to the Jets.